Hello, my candles. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Happy freaking Halloween. So I thought for Halloween today, I could read out of one of my favorite books, Supernatural Short Stories. If you have not read this book, it has some really good stories. The story that we are going to be reading today is called A Mother of Monsters. I have not read this one, so this will be new to me. Sorry in advance if my face is kind of red. I'm having some, not such a good skin day. I didn't really feel like putting any foundation on just because it's so irritated. So, sorry, you'll have to deal with it. Okay, let's get into it. I recall this horrible story, the events of which occur long ago, and this horrible woman the other day at a fashionable seaside resort, where I saw on the beach a well-known young, elegant, and charming Paristine, adored and respected by everyone. I had been invited. He took me about in all directions to do the honors of the place, showed me the scenes, the industries, ruins, I should say, sorry. He pointed out monuments, churches, old carved doorways, enormous and distorted trees, and the oak of St. Andrew, and the yew tree of the Rokibus voice. If I'm butchering this, oh well, sorry. When I had exhausted my admiration and enthusiasm all over the sights, my friend said with a distressed expression on his face that there was nothing left to look at. I breathed freely. I would be able to rest under the shade of the trees, but all at once he uttered an exclamation. Oh yes, we have the Mother of Monsters. I must take you to see her. Who is the Mother of Monsters? I asked. She's an abominable woman, he replied, a regular demon, a being who voluntarily brings into the world deformed, hideous, frightful children. In fact, and then she sells them to the showmen of the exhibit of such things. These exploiters of freaks come from time to time to find out if she has any fresh monstrosity, and if meets with their approval, they carry it away with them, paying the mother of a compensation. I don't know why I'm so tongue twisted today and why I can't freaking read. I have no idea why this is happening today. Let's continue. She has 11 of them. She has 11 of this description. I'm telling y'all, I can't read today. What the fuck? It's like I'm making up words. She is rich. You think I'm joking, romancing, exaggerating. No, my friend, I am telling you the truth, the exact truth. Let us go and see this woman. Then I will tell you her history. He took me into one of the suburbs. The woman lived in a pretty little house by the side of the road. It was attractive and well kept. The garden was filled with fragile flowers. One might have supposed it to be the residence of a retired lawyer. A maid ushered us into the sort of a little country parlor, and the wretch appeared. She was about 40. She was a tall, big woman with hard features, but well-formed, vigorous, and healthy. The true type of peasant woman. Half animal and half woman. She was aware of her reputation and received everyone with I know y'all see my light acting up. Strange things are happening. But she was aware of her reputation and received everyone with a humility that smacked of hatred. "What do the gentlemen wish?" she asked. "They tell me that your last child is just like an ordinary child that does not resemble his brothers at all," replied my friend. I wanted to be sure of that. "Is that true?" She cast on us a malicious and furious look that she said, oh no, my poor sir. He is perhaps even uglier than the rest. I have no luck. They are all like that. It is heartbreaking. How can the good God be so hard on a poor woman who is all alone in the world? How can he?" She spoke, hurried, her eyes cast down with a deprecating air of the wild beast who is afraid. Her harsh voice became soft, and it seemed strange to hear those tearful falsetto tones issuing from her big bony frame of unusual strength, with the coarse outlines which seemed fitted for violent action, and made utter howls like a wolf. We should like to see your little one," said my friend. I fancied she colored up. I may be deceived. After a few moments of silence, she said in a louder tone, "What good will that do you?" Bum bum bum. "Why do you not wish to show it to us?" replied my friend. "There are so many people to whom you will show it. You know whom I mean." She gave a start and resuming her natural voice and giving free play to her anger, she screamed, "Was that why you came here? To insult me? Because my children are like animals? Tell me." "You shall not see him. No. You shall not see him. Go away. I do not know why you all try to torment me like this." She walked over toward us, her hands on her hips. At the brutal tone of her voice, a sort of moaning, or rather mewing, the cry of an idiot, came from the adjoining room. I shivered to the marrow of my bones. We retreated before her. "Take care, devil." "They call her the devil," said my friend. "Take care. Someday you will get yourself into trouble like this." She began to tremble beside herself with fury, shaking her fist and roaring, "Be off with you." "What will get me into trouble? Be off with you, miscreants." She was about to attack us, but we fled, saddened at what we had seen. When we got outside, my friend said, "Well, you have seen her. What do you think of her? Tell me the story of this brute," I replied. And this is what he told me as we walked along the white high road with rip crops on either side of it, which ripped like the sea in the light breeze that passed over them. This woman was a servant on a farm. She was an honest girl, steady and economical. She was never known to be an admirer or never suspected of any fatality. But she went astray, as many do. She found herself in trouble and was tortured with fear and shame. Wishing to conceal her misfortune, she bound her body tightly with a corset of her own invention, made of boards and cords. The more she developed, the more she bound herself with this instrument of torture, suffering, but brave to her sorrow, not allowing anyone to see or suspect anything. The little unborn being cramping it with the frightful corset, and made a monster of it. Its head was squeezed and elongated to the point that its large eyes seemed popping out of its head, its limbs exaggeratedly long that twisted like a stalk of a vine, terminated in fingers like the claws of a spider. Its trunk was tiny and round as a nut. The child was born in an open field. When the weeders saw it, they fled away screaming. The report spread that she had given birth to a demon. From the time on, she was called the Devil. She was driven from the farm and lived on charity under a cloud. She brought up the monster, whom she hated with a savage hatred, and would have strangled. My dog's about to go outside and start howling. One day, some traveling showmen heard about the frightful creature and asked to see it, so that if it pleased them, they might take it away. They were pleased and counted out 500 francs to the mother. At first, she had refused to let them see the little animal, as she was ashamed, but when she discovered it had a money value, and that these people were anxious to get it, she began to haggle with them, raising her price with all a peasant's persistence. She made them draw up a paper in which they promised to pay about 400 francs a year besides, as they had taken this deformity into their employ. Incited by the greed of gain, she continued to produce these phenomena, so as to have an assured income. Some of these were long, some short, some like crabs all body like lizards. Several died, and she was heartbroken. The law tried to interfere, but as they had no proof, they let her continue to produce these freaks. She has at this moment 11 alive, and they bring in, on an average, counting good and bad years, from 5,000 to 6,000 francs a year. One alone is not placed, the one she is unwilling to show, but she will not keep it long, for she is known to all the showmen in all the world, who come from time to time to see if she has anything new. She even gets bids from them when the monster is valuable. My friend was silent. A profound disgust stirred my heart, a feeling of rage, of regret, to think that I had not strangled this brute when I had the opportunity. I had forgotten this story when I saw on the beach of a fashionable resort on the other side an elegant, charming, dainty woman surrounded by men who paid her respects as well as admiration. I was walking along the beach, arm in arm with a friend, the resident physician. 10 minutes later, I saw a nursemaid with 3 children who were rolling in the sand. A pair of little crutches lay in the ground and touched my sympathy. And then I noticed that these 3 children were all deformed, humpbacked, or crooked and hideous. Those are the offsprings of the charming woman you just saw now, said the doctor. I was filled with pity from her as well as for them, and exclaimed, "Oh, the poor mother! How could she ever laugh?" "Do not pity her, my friend. Pity the poor children," replied the doctor. "This is the consequence of preserving a slender figure to the last. These little deformities were made by the corset. She knows very well that she is risking her life at this game, but what does she care, as long as she can be beautiful and have admirers?" And then I recall the other woman, the peasant, the devil, who sold her children, her monsters. What? What the fuck? I don't really know what to think about that. It's quite an odd story. In my personal opinion, I guess. Sorry, this light's like really bright over here. If you have a child, I think you should keep it because it's your child, you know? But this isn't a debate or anything. This was just like, just a story. But yeah, this was called A Mother of Monsters. So pretty much like she sold her children because she thought they were ugly. And she wanted money out of it so that she could have it for herself. It's kind of fucked up, but there's people like that in this world. Even if this is like a fiction story, but still. Yeah, there are more stories in this book. Supernatural short stories. Some of them are actually not that short of stories, so I could try to read more in another video if that's something you're interested in, but just let me know. I just thought I could finish off Halloween with an odd story. Okay, bye my candles.